get ready with me for lunch and band practice. So my friend who actually came to see me on the show, we're gonna go have lunch. We're trying a new Indonesian restaurant. We like to try new restaurants every now and then. We're both love to try new places, so she suggested this place. She's gonna go to her hometown for the next month or so, so we're gonna have lunch and catch up. I feel like even though she came to see me at the show, I feel like we didn't really get to talk much because we were around everyone and everything, and I didn't really get to tell her the tea going on about band and stuff. So we're gonna meet up today and do that, and then I have band practice tonight. So it's gonna be a late lunch because the restaurant doesn't open till like 3 o'clock. I went to my niece's recital yesterday in Indiana. It took me like an hour and 20 minutes to get there because I have to go through downtown Chicago to get there. And driving through downtown Chicago on a Saturday afternoon in June, yeah, it can be a hot mess for sure. So that's definitely what it was, but it doesn't matter. It was worth it to get to see my family and get to see my niece. She was excited. She does ballet and tap, so this is our 3rd year in a row going to her recitals. It's become a yearly tradition ever since she started dancing, and she's 5, so yeah, she loves dancing. She's always loved dancing, so I'm glad that we all get to be there to support her, and I'm glad that she gets to have that from us, you know. We met up for dinner beforehand and then went to get dessert because the recital is long because it's like all ages, and my sister was like, she won't go in until the 2nd act of the show because they have 2 acts. After the 1st act, they have an intermission. And even with that, we still had to wait a bit before we got to see her show. But it was all worth it either way. Even though there was a lot of waiting and it got boring a few times. But like the waiting got boring a little bit of waiting for the 2nd act to go because it is long. I'm just there to see my niece. So, but like I said, it was worth it, and she was happy to have us there, and that's all that matters to me. But I did get home pretty late for me because I didn't get home till after 10 o'clock because the thing didn't finish till almost 9. This time the drive back was not as bad, thankfully, since it was already nighttime, but going through downtown is always a hot mess, and there was a lot of cars out last night because normally when they have the Puerto Rican parade and stuff like that, they have a lot of cars are out, and so a lot of cars were out lined up along Lakeshore Drive and stuff like that. But I love driving through Lakeshore Drive when it's warm out with the windows down and my music up, so that's what I got to do. So all that matters is I got home safe, and I passed out as soon as I got home because I was tired. It was very overstimulating for me yesterday, not just with all the people being there, but also it was just a lot of driving, a lot of everything. So I was very overstimulated. I was like, as we were waiting, I was like walking around and trying to just move around a bit because I felt almost like, not antsy, but so many people around and everything. I haven't been with my family like that in large crowds. I haven't done that in a while, so it's already like a lot for me, but I made it and it went well. So yeah, I had my vocal lesson on Thursday, and I was talking to my teacher about what songs I would want to pick, because that's what we're going to talk about today in band is, okay, what songs are we going to do for this next season, right? And we normally get to pick 1 or 2 songs each, and so I've been trying to narrow it down I definitely want to do a song by The Warning, and I've narrowed it down to Error by The Warning, because I feel like that would be a good challenge for me. The verses are not as much of a challenge as the chorus is. So, you know, my teacher said that would be a good song for me. And then I want to do a song that has screaming in it. But since I'm still a beginner and I'm still learning, I don't want it to have too much screaming. I want it to have a good amount of screaming that won't mess me up too much, but enough that I could practice it and get better at it. And my teacher has suggested maybe doing Faint by Linkin Park. But I don't know how the other vocalists will feel about rapping Mike Shinoda's part. So I have that one, but then as the days have been passing by, the other day I was singing along to Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone. And there's a band called A Day to Remember. They do a cover of Since You've Been Gone, and they do screaming in it. And I was like, I wonder if I could do my own version, because that one is a little lower. I mean, it's lower because it's a male singer. It's a male singing the vocals. So it's already lower than Kelly Clarkson's song. But I also don't know if I would be able to scream as high as the Kelly Clarkson song. I could sing the Kelly Clarkson song, and sometimes I can hit the high notes, sometimes I can't. I'm still learning. I'm still getting there with that. But I feel like eventually I could hit them. But I don't know. So I was thinking, oh, why don't I do that A Day to Remember version, but maybe do it a little higher, like more in my register. I don't know. Oh, because I was going over songs with my teacher, and we were going over some Korn songs, because that seems like the most obvious choice, right? Doing a Korn song, because they're my favorite band. But he was telling me that they're too low for me for right now. He's like, right now, since you're still learning, like they're a little too low to start learning and stuff. So that's when he's like, I'm like, well, what about a song from Linkin Park? And then we started going over songs from Linkin Park. He's like, this would be a good one. But then I was like, well, let me see. I don't know. I more just don't want to, I don't know, in case my co-vocalist doesn't feel comfortable with it. I was just like, you know, and so I've been thinking about the Kelly Clarkson one, so, or the Day to Remember, both of those. So, I don't know. I decided I'm gonna suggest the Warning song first, and if an opportunity for a second song comes up, I'll talk about that, the Since You've Been Gone, and see what they feel like. And if not, then we got the Linkin Park song, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. And see where it goes from there. So as long as I get to do a song that will challenge me, that will help me grow as a vocalist, I'm down for whatever. And I'm curious to see what other band members suggest too. Someone else already sent us a song in the group chat. I forgot what the name of it is, but it has a lot of keyboard stuff in it, and since right now the keyboard stuff's up in the air, but I'm sure it'll all work itself out, so I'm not worried about that. Like I said, if we need to, our teacher can do keyboards. He knows how to play, so I'm not worried about that at all. But I have been practicing my voice this week. On Thursday, once we narrowed down the songs, then my teacher and I went over the chorus to Error by The Warning, and he was teaching me how to do the resonance, that keep the resonance in my in this area of my voice, like of my body, instead of not doing it too high or too low where it might tighten, my throat tightens. So we were working on that, on keeping it here. So he gave me some pointers and some vocal exercises that I could do to get me to that sound that we're looking for. So I've been practicing that, and I feel like it's getting better. Honestly, I feel like once he teaches me something, I feel like I'm able to practice it on my own. So I'm confident that I'll get there eventually. It's not perfect. I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm just aiming to continue improving a little each day, you know? But all I gotta do is just keep practicing, keep exercising my voice, and that way to get it used to doing that, because especially because it's already a song that I know and that I've sang before on my own. Like, for me, it's a song that I really love. So it's like almost getting myself to not sing it how I used to sing it and to sing it the right way. And sometimes that's harder, because especially when my body's already used to singing it a certain way, it's already kind of, I have to almost reprogram my body to not sing it that way. And that could be hard sometimes, but I've done that before with screaming, and I feel like, honestly, I feel like the screaming is harder. But all things I'm working on, all things I'm planning to improve on. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this season. I know we're gonna have a performance next month because the school's gonna have an anniversary event going on, but I guess maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow to decide what songs we're gonna be doing for that. And then I've been thinking about, because now my family's aware that I've been doing this, so I've been thinking about if I would invite them, because at least last season there were 2 shows. The first show was maybe a month in, and it's only just to show, like, this is what we've been working on so far, right? And obviously the performances aren't the best because we're still working on them, right? So I was thinking of maybe not inviting them to the first show and inviting them to the second show instead. I don't know. They're just some things that I'm considering, but I gotta have an idea what this season's gonna look like. Since it's summer, I don't know if the summer season's different than the seasons that are outside of summer, because I know they work with kids a lot, so I'm sure they plan things around the school year and stuff like that. So I'll find out more details today. But those are just some things that I've been thinking about. I saw my cousin yesterday. I was telling her about it too, and she was like, I want to come to a show. I was like, I'll let you know. So we'll see. We'll be talking about that in class today. So a lot of things are up in the air right now. In school and in my personal life, I'm in the middle of making a pretty big decision that I'm also kind of in. It's like, I know I'm going to make the decision, but I'm almost delaying the inevitable sort of thing, because it's going to be a big change for me, and I also know that it's not something I'll really be able to hide from my family. And now that I'm like talking to them again, I'm like already dreading that, you know. But at the same time, I feel like, okay, well, I'm committed to being myself no matter what, no matter the judgments, no matter the criticism, right? And I know this is gonna be, I feel like this is gonna be almost like a test for all of us. For me, of like, okay, am I really gonna stand in my truth and own this decision that I'm making, instead of be afraid and try to hide, you know? Because that's what I normally, that's like normally what I do with my family, or what I've done with my family, especially since they show to me that I can't really be open and honest with them about things with my life because of their comments or their thing. Is I'll normally lie, just lie until I can't anymore, essentially. And it's not in a deceiving way, it's just in a way of keeping people out of my business, because at least in the past, I feel like my family has had opinions and things, or like, why are you doing that? Why would you do that? Or things like that that doesn't make sense to them. And I'm just tired of explaining myself. I'm tired of explaining myself and my reasoning for things when I already know they won't understand. You know what I mean? At least in the history has shown that to me of that. And so that's why I've been going back and forth about it, about this decision that I'm making of like, how long do I wait to take that leap? And it's like, I'm like kind of holding it off a little bit, but then I'm like, I might as well just do it and rip the band-aid. I'm only delaying the inevitable. That's what I've been back and forth in this week on that. But today I'm more like, I'm just gonna do it and fuck it. You know, I was gonna do this before I reconnected with them anyway. It's something I was already planning on doing. And the only thing that's making me pause is their reaction. So, I mean, it's not like I'm gonna announce it when I do it, but inevitably they're gonna ask, and I'm gonna have to be honest. You know, I don't want to have to lie to them. I want to be able to stand in my truth without having to lie, you know. And so that's what I'm kind of in between of that, but whatever. It is gonna be what it will be, and I'll deal with whatever happens. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't care what people think about me, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to have to explain myself to people. And I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out with my family, because I've always been that type of person. I've always done things that go against their expectations. I think I've been the only one that's really done that. I mean, my brother and sister, my sister hasn't really done anything like this. That, you know, my brother has maybe, but nothing as extreme as I have. And it's thrown my parents off a lot, and this is gonna be another thing. I just feel like it's gonna be another thing that's thrown at them. But at the same time, this is where do they really mean what they say, where they said they'll try their best not to criticize me, not to judge me. Who knows? But I also don't really care to tell them or explain to them either. But they're gonna find out eventually. It's something that is gonna, I'm not gonna be able to really hide. So that's why I'm debating it. And especially too, we had my niece's recital yesterday. Then next weekend is Father's Day. And the weekend after is my grandma's birthday, which my mom already kind of guilt tripped me about, which is fine. I wanted to go anyway, but she was just like, she always asks me about you and how you're doing. It would be nice to have you there. And I'm like, I put it in my calendar. I'm gonna be seeing them, so it's something I won't be able to hide when they see me. I don't know. Or they're just gonna make assumptions. They're gonna make assumptions of things, and that's what I don't want. It's gonna bring questions that I don't want to answer, that I'm not gonna answer. Even before the recital yesterday, I was already like, if they ask about this, I'm gonna set my boundaries. Especially when it comes to finances. Like, that's one of the first things they started asking me about, but I'm like, I didn't really answer. Because I'm just like, they always want to know, do I still have money? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what am I doing with my money? How am I, you know? But my mom used it almost as an excuse of like, oh, well, we're trying to see what you're doing so we could maybe get some tips from you because we have this much money left. Because they're living on savings or their retirement and stuff like that, right? So she's more like, oh, give us tips on how to, and I'm like, that's not why she's asking. But I was just like, no. And so yeah, but it'll be what it'll be, and that's that. And I guess it's something I won't understand unless I ever become a parent, right? Of like people who, it's like, even though I'm an adult, I still sometimes feel like I'm treated like a kid, or like a kid who doesn't know what they're doing or something. But I guess it's always gonna feel that way coming from my parents. But eyelashes on. Never had Indonesian food before, so I'm looking forward to that. I was looking at the menu because my friend sent me their menu and it looks delicious, so I'm thinking of getting noodles. I love noodles, so I feel like you can't go wrong with noodles, especially if it's like something you're trying for the first time. I don't know if I've ever tried noodles that didn't taste good. There we go. I had something I like to call Nova's Playtime, where I dress up in my makeup with all the tears and stuff, and I did it again the other day, and it was a lot of fun. On Friday, I did it again on Friday, and I finally got stuff to cushion my crown that I like to wear, because it was really pinching my head and stuff. So I got some fabric from Dollar Tree. It's like this fuzzy fabric, and it like feels cushiony, because I was looking for like some foam or something soft that would, but the fabric worked perfectly and it was great. And I did get some, like a little bit of writing came through, but it was mostly just, you know, it's like, oh, just having fun. I don't know. It's just having fun. And for me, it's like becoming that version of me that I already am, that I already feel like I am in my mind. So I use the makeup and the crown and all that as like tools in the external to reinforce what I already feel internally, if that makes sense. So like in the makeup, all that embodies the art that I'm creating. And so when I'm dressed up like that, I feel like the art is already ready. It's already there. It's already out for everyone. So it puts me in sort of that headspace. And it's really fun. Even if nothing, like I said, even if nothing ends up coming out of it, it's just fun. And it's better than worrying about what's going on in the world or worrying about the future. Because in that moment, I'm living in my future already. You know what I mean? I'm living in my future with that, dressed up like that, and in that makeup. I'm already living in the future where I'm the happiest version of me, where I'm creating the art that I love and it's out there and just having the best time. So instead of worrying about the future, I play in my future that I'm envisioning. So I highly recommend it, because not only does it help relieve stress, it helps us build our future, essentially, right? Because that's what I feel like that's what we're doing with the neuroscience behind it, the psychological stuff behind it. It's not just magic, right? I mean, it is magic for those that believe in the magic, but for those that are more into the science and things, that's how we build the neural pathways. That's how we continue building those new neural pathways and strengthening those neural pathways by continuing to do rituals that reinforce that new the version of us that we're becoming. So that's how I like to do it myself. And you know, who said we had to stop playing pretend when we're adults? Who said that should only be for kids? I still like to play. And it's not really pretend, I'm just already embodying the version that I want to be now. I'm doing it for that little girl over there because she always had dreams and things that she didn't think were possible. And I'm trying to make them possible for her. I owe her at least that, you know? Like, my parents, my family might not understand where I'm coming from, but I know where I'm coming from because no one knows themselves better than me. My family don't know me. They think they know me, but they don't. You know, no one knows me how I know myself. And I think that's what helps me. That's what helps me keep going, and that's what helps me also just decide I'm just gonna do this anyway. I know whatever feedback I may get, I'll be able to handle it because at the end of the day, no one knows me better than me. My parents like to think they still know me, but they don't because I have evolved a lot. Something that came up when we had our talk where my dad said, he mentioned something about something I used to do or whatever, and I said that's not me anymore. I'm a different version of me now. I've grown, I've evolved. So this is how I embody the new and evolved version of me, by continuing to do what I had already decided I was going to do, not letting it stop me, not letting what they might think stop me. But yeah. Because I'm my priority. They're getting ready to move to Mexico. They're doing their own thing. That's why they're selling the house. They have an apartment in Cancun. They're gonna live more time in Cancun than here, which I don't blame them because who wants to live here right now anyway, right? And I'm fully in support of that decision for them of like, do what makes you happy. I'm always gonna be in support of whatever makes people happy, and I'm not giving my opinions on how they should do it or whatever, you know. That's something I did last year. I sold my condo. I did my own version of that last year. So I'm here to support anyone who wants to make big life changes. If you want to make a big life change and you feel like you have no one to support you, or people are maybe not reacting how you expect around you, you got my support. I'm all for people making changes in their life like that, like things that go against what people expect of you, you know, because that's what I did. Ever since I started doing that, I just feel like my life has just gotten better because of it. The more I do things for me and for my well-being and for my goals, I feel like the more things open up for me, the more opportunities open up for me without even looking for it. That's what happened with my teacher asked me to join the second band, or things like that. Just resources, things appear without having to ask. And yeah, difficult things happen too sometimes, but again, like this difficult thing, right? I already made the decision to do this, but now I'm pausing because of that. Of like, I'm delaying it because I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, but at the same time, I'm like, no, we're not doing this. We're not gonna. This is my journey, not my parents' journey, not my family's journey, you know, and I'm not here to try to prove anything to anyone. I'm just here to live for me. So I'm gonna make this decision. I'm gonna do the thing. And if they don't like it, then I'll continue to keep things to myself. I'll continue. I'm not at a point in my life where I care. Like, it's not, before this kind of thing used to almost paralyze me for a minute. And it's not that I'm paralyzed, it's more like, right now, it's more like I'm delaying the inevitable. Or I'm trying to delay me doing this thing later. But I think I'm just gonna do it how I originally planned it. I was gonna do it this week. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. But I mean, unless I feel like I've tried to do this before and the universe delayed things a little bit. So unless things get delayed again by the universe, like things like that. But those like, the delay happened, like, it was something that was out of my control. So normally when delays like that happen, I kind of take them as, okay, there's a reason why it's not happening right now, and that's okay. I might not understand right now. And at the time, the delay did frustrate me. I would have liked to do it back then. I wouldn't have to worry about this, but delays also happen for a reason. And we might not fully see why at the moment, but eventually we'll see why. We'll see why, and then we'll be like, oh yeah, I get it now. And I'm already at that point with that delay. Like, I already know why. I'm like, okay, yeah, the delay, I get it. And I'm glad that it was delayed a bit, you know? But there's a difference between delay and being completely paralyzed by fear, though, because I know that's something I used to experience too. Is I used to be paralyzed by fear, and I wouldn't make a decision because I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. It was more avoidance than anything, of like, I was avoiding the inevitable, not delaying the inevitable. There's a difference. And avoiding the inevitable, it's like doing yourself a disservice more than anything, right? Of like, you're not advancing. And delaying is like, I know I'm going to make the decision. I'm already getting there. I just need... I'm the kind of person that likes to reflect on things and make sure I'm making the right decision. You know, because after the universal delay, now I'm delaying it, but it's more like, am I sure this is what I want to do? And yeah, all signs are pointing to yes. The only thing delaying me is my parents' reaction. So, but that's not enough to stop me. So, I'm not gonna let it stop me. Because I did make a vow to myself that I would do what it takes to make my dreams come true. And not in a sacrificial way, like I'm gonna sell my soul to make my dreams come true. No, not like that. But in I'm committed to this, and this is a way that I show that I'm committed to this. That yes, I'm doing this. I'm not... There was a lyric from Red Hot Chili Peppers. It was like, I'll make it to the moon if I have to crawl. And I was like, I'll make it to the moon if I have to crawl. And so it was just that kind of motivated me to make this decision. But like I said, it was just that reconnection with my parents now that was kind of like making me question myself again. But I'm more sure than anything that yes, I'm still doing the right thing. I'm still doing what I think is best for me. And yeah, my family might not like it, but it's not their life that I'm living, it's mine. And so I'm going to continue doing that. It was my original plan to begin with, and I'm going to keep doing that. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to get dressed and get ready to have my lunch, or my late lunch, and then have band practice, and we'll see what songs we got for this season. I'm excited.